I've been wanting a YouTuber I watch who reviews bad horror movies to review this one, but I don't think he ever will, so I'm making the video that I want to see. Open Water is a 2003 survival horror film that is based on the true story of the Lonergans, a couple who were trapped in the middle of the ocean after their scuba diving group left without them. With no way of getting help and being in shark-infested waters, they both end up dying. Open Water 2, released in 2006, is absolutely not related to this movie whatsoever. The only similarities are that both movies have people trapped in the ocean. Open Water 2 was originally titled Adrift due to it being based on a short story of the same name by Koji Suzuki. The title was changed to piggyback off of Open Water's success, which did fairly well. They also tried claiming the story was based on true events for this one because reasons. I watched this one way back in 2009 when I was on a horror movie binge because I realized that I'm not scared of scary movies. Try to figure out which IMDb review on Open Water 2 is mine. Note that I have never really watched a lot of King of the Hill, and this is relevant. You know that episode where they go on the boat and then all jump off of it and forget to put the ladder down first? That's basically this movie, except everyone dies. King of the Hill was on TV while I was in a hotel recently, and I was like, wait, I've seen this exact plot before. So then I remembered I wanted to make a video, and here we are. That episode came out in 2005. So did the Open Water 2 team steal the idea? So the movie starts out by showing us the main characters, a group of rude, obnoxious frat kids, or college kids or whatever, being rude and obnoxious while on vacation. We're treated to a home video of this event, and it makes you dislike them right off the bat.
Hi guys. Do you think we're gonna know each other forever? Seriously? You guys are my best friends. Where are we, by the way? Does anybody?
It kind of reminded me of the beginning of Far Cry 3, except I like those characters better.
I haven't done Sambuca since I was 20 years old.
When the creepy music starts, the movie decides to inform you that it is based on true events, just like the Chainsaw Massacre in Texas. There's a time skip of 5 years later where we see one of the original characters driving to Mexico. She has a husband and baby now. I don't remember the name of the guy, I wasn't paying attention. I just checked Wikipedia and the dude's name is James and his wife is Amy. The baby's name is Sarah, I don't know if that matters at all. Baby Sarah is not having it with this car ride and can only be quieted by her parents singing Frère Jacques. While James has the typical family man thing going on with his nice little car, another one of the characters rides up in a motorcycle. You can tell he's living as a free man because he has sunglasses and a motorcycle. He also has a woman riding with him, and I don't remember if she's part of the original group. I'm gonna say yes because she points at Amy and is like, hey! And it's Zach's birthday. They all meet up in a shipyard, and James has a "Yuck Bush" sticker on the car's back window, so you know he's a filthy communist. Everyone grabs their bags and heads to the docks except for Amy, who has a flashback of being in the water as a child with, I presume, her father. This flashback keeps coming up until she finally makes it onto the yacht. She seemed reluctant to go, and that probably would have been the better choice. The yacht belongs to their friend Dan, and as they wonder where he is, they go downstairs to do whatever and open the door on Dan and a mysterious woman having sex. The mysterious woman being his new girlfriend Michelle that no one has met yet. Dan has a captain's hat on and looks proud as one of the girls says, "He's having breakfast." No one really seems to think this is awkward as they all smile and laugh while Dan pulls Michelle into bed for another round. She tells them, "We'll be there in 2 minutes, that's all it takes." Classic Dan, am I right? Zach and Lauren have a weird interaction where it makes me wonder if they are in a romantic relationship. He asks if she brought him a present. She says her being there is his present. He asks her for a receipt. She elbows him in the gut, so I'm gonna say yes. It's birthday celebration time as Michelle comes out in a bikini holding a cake that is made up of 2 breasts. I would probably leave at this point if I were Amy or Lauren. Cake doesn't even look good. They set sail and Dan and Zach argue about him smoking on board the yacht. Zach is not a happy man and Dan brags about money, because everyone needs to know just how successful he is. James and Amy leave baby Sarah downstairs on the bed with a huge comforter where she can easily suffocate, but it's okay because they brought a baby monitor. Wow, these people are terrible parents. For anyone without kids, you do not do this. This is very dangerous, especially for a baby that young. Like I said earlier, easy suffocation. Amy is worried about being on the boat, and James comforts her by making out and asking if they're old while Dan is bragging about his sex life or something. Everyone needs to know how great his sex life is. Apparently he's also a playboy because Lauren asks how long he and Michelle have known each other. 2 weeks. Michelle kind of seems like a dumb bitch to me, and Lauren agrees with me. Amy is wearing a life vest, and Michelle asks why she's wearing one. There's an awkward silence before Amy tells her it's to cover her monster boobs. Michelle seems to accept this answer as fact. Zach is given the captain's hat as a birthday honor and does either a Popeye or Mr. Krabs impression laugh. Probably Popeye, but I've been watching a lot of SpongeBob lately, so it could go either way. Everyone is now dancing and having a good time. Apparently Lauren and Zach aren't in a romantic relationship, but do some flirting. She does the whole king of the world thing from Titanic. It puts Zach's arm around her waist to hold her back or whatever. But in the next shot, his arm is at his side. Sorry, Lauren. I guess he's not that into you. Michelle complains about the heat while the men ogle her, so they decide to go swimming in the ocean. Supplies get passed around, including a knife and inflatable dolphin that is already blown up. Michelle only has one thing to blow during this voyage. She also names the dolphin Delphine. You can tell Amy wants to nope out, and Sarah gives her a window of opportunity by crying over the baby monitor. Hopefully she isn't face down, Amy. James is going into the ocean with the others and somehow brings up frogs to Michelle. I wasn't paying attention, I just saw him say something about frogs and then start ribbiting. Michelle says he seems like a nice frog in that dumb blonde type of way, and James accidentally flirts back. Damn, dude. Just stop it, you too. Dan is in the yacht with Amy, telling her how she could have been the one. So we got some unrequited love going on. Maybe Amy and Dan should get together, James and Michelle can get together, everyone wins. There are also a lot of jump cuts that change what position they're sitting in, and it drives me insane. They then go on deck and Amy talks about her fear of water. Dan thinks it's a great idea to grab her and jump in the water.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
So now they're all in the water with no way back on the boat. Amy has a PTSD flashback where we learn that her father drowned while they were swimming in the ocean together when she was a child. She goes into shock and everyone is like, yo, what the fuck, Dan? Where's the ladder? How'd she get in the water? And then they learn that they're fucked. Michelle also does the dumb blonde thing of saying, what's wrong with her? The sequence when Amy goes into shock is slow and choppy, so I wasn't sure if the video's quality was low or something, but it goes back to normal after. Zach tries jumping up the side of the boat, but no dice. Amy also comes out of shock when James sings Frere Jacques to her. I guess that's a thing. The scene of them attempting to jump the boat is really frustrating because you're like thinking of all the ways they could have tried that would hopefully have better results. Like maybe have each guy lift up the foot of one of the girls while standing or something. Maybe the weight would push them down. I don't know. But they never tried. In any case, jumping doesn't work, so they steal Michelle's dolphin to try and climb on. For some reason, they have Zach trying to climb the dolphin instead of one of the girls. Surprise, surprise, he's too heavy and it pops a hole. So now Delphine is dead and they don't have anything to float with. The next course of action is to grab the flag that is hanging off the boat. Brilliant. You know that's gonna end well. Again, Zach is the one to grab onto it and tries pulling the whole flag down. It tears at the seam and rips off. I don't know what he was trying to do here. The remaining flag just waves in the breeze, menacingly. Zach is now getting cranky because he needs his cigarette. He smokes like 40 packs a day apparently. He also tells them it's harder to drown than they would think. I would like to disagree. Everyone is getting antsy and all of a sudden Michelle screams that something touched her leg and it must be a shark. Time to go into panic mode. Spoiler, there are no sharks in this movie. I wish there were sharks in this movie. It would have made it so much better. They start arguing about whose fault this is, and the beautiful line, "Who died and made you Captain fucking Nemo?" is uttered by Dan to James. It would have been gold if he said that to Zach, who he crowned as captain earlier, but the filmmakers made the mistake of not doing that. Everyone starts blaming Dan for their predicament, which is true. He should have made sure everything was safe to go back on the boat and shouldn't have jumped in with Amy. This is on you, Dan. Michelle starts panicking and shoves Dan, then attacks Amy and tries to steal her life vest. Lauren tries to calm her down, and Michelle starts blurting out Bible verses. You know shit's getting real when the slutty party girl turns religious. The look on everyone else's face hints that they might all be atheists and don't know how to break it to her. Lauren decides to be a bitch and tells Michelle that God won't save them because he lets millions of people die every day, including children. Why do you need to be so negative, Lauren? Why can't you let Michelle comfort herself without being like, well, actually, God wants you to die, you dumb bitch? Michelle is still clinging on to hope that they'll get an adrenaline rush to save themselves like people do in emergency situations. Are you gonna shoot that down too, Lauren? Do you need to tell her how that's unlikely because you're tired? What other dreams of hers do you want to crush? Time passes and you see how they're suffering. Tons of water to swim in, but none to drink. You even get a shot of the sad boob cake that is going to waste on board along with their delicious alcoholic beverages. They're so close and yet... Luckily, the bow has a couple of handles that they can hold on to not drown. They suddenly hear a sound from the other side of the boat, and initially I thought it was the horn of another boat. Nope, turns out someone's cell phone is on vibrate and it's in the jacket that is just barely hanging off of the side. What luck! Unfortunately, luck is not on their side. The jacket is pulled down into the water. They retrieve the cell phone and answer the call. Michelle tries yelling for help and Zach tells her to shut up. He tries getting the attention of his sister on the phone and elbows Michelle when she swims too close to him. Goddamn dude, chill. The water deactivates the phone and everyone loses their mind blaming him. He gets angry and throws the phone. So now there's no phone. Even though they probably could have tinkered with it to see if it would work again. But I digress. Lauren and Michelle start fighting, James gets a leg cramp. Things aren't looking good for our heroes. But good news! Dan has another idea. Time to make a rope with everyone's clothes. Or swimsuits since there's a lack of clothing. At this moment, another party boat drives by. Swims by? Floats by? They're also college frats, I'm assuming, and the girls are topless and they're like, yeah, spring break, and then zoom right past them. The whole group is in the water and keeps yelling. If I saw that, I would assume they needed something. Not even the fact that they keep yelling, the fact that like everyone is in the water when it's a known fact that people don't swim in the ocean because of ghosts. Amy's spidey senses are tingling and she knows that Sarah will be awake soon. Zach still has the knife on him and uses it to cut the swimsuits. James wants to see if there's an entrance, exit, hatch, through the bottom of the yacht. Remember, it's a yacht, not a boat. And don't you forget that. So we have Zach making a rope and James exploring the abyss. We get a nice shot of him naked, but luckily the camera cuts off any indecent exposure and we see his full body as a black silhouette. James finds the fan on the bottom of the yacht as Zach successfully throws his makeshift rope onto the railing. It seems like he'll somehow activate the engine and cut up James, but this is not the case. Zach did not learn from his past mistakes and decides the best course of action is for him to climb it. Straight out of the water. Again, why didn't you use one of the girls? Zach? As he is ruining the rope by climbing, James hits his head on the fan and drops his knife. He throws his mask off for some reason and starts swimming after the knife. He actually manages to retrieve it, but begins panicking while surfacing because air breather. In his haste, he cracks his head on the fan and it makes a really sickening cracking sound. Like, holy crap, that made me cringe and feel it throughout my body. So now he's probably dead. Zach falls back down as the rope tears due to his weight. Amy realizes James isn't around and begins calling for him. I bet you thought he was dead. Nope, he's still here like a boss. He has blood flowing out of his ear though, so that's probably not a good thing. Lauren is able to diagnose him with a skull fracture and tells Dan he needs to go to the hospital as soon as possible. Good luck with that. And I'm still cringing and holding my head from all of this. Zach's next plan is to take the knife and stab the hatch on the side of the boat. I'm not too sure why he goes about it the way he does, because it seems like he's just stabbing it and not trying to like pry it open or like put the knife in the whatever. But Dan cannot allow the precious yacht, to be harmed and fights him for the knife, causing Zach to stab himself. Zach does the thing you should never do and pulls the knife out. It then falls to the ocean floor, never to be seen again. Now we have two characters bleeding out. Where are the sharks at? During all of the chaos, Sarah wakes up and is heard crying on the baby monitor. Michelle swims off and disappears. Dan swims in the direction Michelle went and finds her dead body slowly falling to the bottom of the ocean. He makes the first smart decision in the movie by leaving her corpse to its fate and returning to the others. 3 people down, 3 left. 4 if you count Sarah. We already know Zach and James have a death sentence, and somehow all of the blood just doesn't attract any sharks whatsoever. Zach dies in Lauren's arms right before he confesses his feelings. This is painful. James also thinks so. He punches Dan in the face, asking if the boat is worth more than his friends. Amy protects Dan by pushing James away, who's like, "Are you on his side?" The way she says no is not convincing whatsoever. It's like if he asked her if she has a crush on him or something. What? No, of course not. She tries to grab his head to keep him still, which is probably, again, not a good idea. You know, given the skull fracture and everything. And then the big twist comes. The yacht doesn't actually belong to Dan. He's not even rich or famous. You see, the yacht belongs to his boss, and Dan goes into bars to pick up chicks, telling them he has a yacht and is a millionaire. He gives a sob story about how he lies to everyone and wanted to believe in himself with his lies or something like that. At least Michelle isn't around to hear this. He adds more salt to the sea with his tears, and they show several cuts of him crying and saying he's sorry, but it looks more like he's laughing. My husband looked at my screen during this point and said, "The music's really bad." Lauren is sobbing and telling Zach's dead body that she loved him, but it's a bit too late for that. Amy manages to convince her to let his body go, just like Rose did in the Titanic, except this isn't as moving. We get a nice shot of him slowly sinking, along with the makeshift rope, because fuck it, they're out of ideas. Let's see if Michelle's prayers conjure up any miracles. James, miraculously, still isn't dead at this point. Good for him, I crossed him off the list too early. An airplane flies overhead, but nobody reacts. Reality has set in for them. Amy strokes James's head, which again I don't think is a good idea because of the skull fracture, but whatever. Lauren decides to make a gamble and attempt to swim for shore because I'm not gonna die treading water, man. That's not me. We never see her again, so who knows? Maybe she did make it to shore. Maybe she found a private island all to herself. Maybe she made it to the island in the forest and all of the cannibals hail her as their queen. Sarah wakes up crying again, and Amy focuses on the square panel on the side of the yacht. She remembers Zach stabbing it and asks Dan to go look for the knife. He says it may have drifted and puts on the swim goggles to look for it. In the dark water with no light. And it's deeper than a public pool that I don't think he's really used to. Time skip to dusk and James is bleeding out of his nose now, so that's probably not a good sign. It begins raining because the universe is sad for them. Dan surfaces and opens his mouth for a bit of rainwater, then goes back to looking for the knife. He's really spending a lot of time and energy looking for it. Too bad he doesn't apply this energy to a real solution. James is fucking dead and Amy screams while sobbing. Dan hears her screams and is even more determined to find that knife. And I swear to God they use the same fucking clips of him going underwater from a minute ago. The rain is beating down hard on that baby monitor, but it is waterproofed as fuck. They shelled out the $30 instead of getting the cheap $10 one. After holding on to him for a prolonged amount of time, Amy pulls a Lauren and lets James's body sink underwater. He's doing a T-pose. Maybe it's symbolism for his death being hope because he's Jesus or something? Maybe it's because he's basically an NPC? I don't know. Did the others sink in a T-pose? Dan emerges from the water because his arm hurts. He's been looking for that knife for what has to be hours now. You're not gonna find it, dude. Just give up like you've done so many other times before. Well, I guess most of the giving up on plans was done by Zach, but Dan is the center of the tragedy. Amy takes her vest off and uses it to help Dan float back to the yacht. They hold on to the handles and Dan looks big mad at himself in his goggles reflection. He yells, "It should have been me!" And it really should have been. He punches the boat and breaks his goggles, then the glass from the lens or whatever cuts his hand. More blood, no sharks. He then uses the flimsy goggle lens to stick into the panel on the side of the boat and has Amy climb on him and up onto the boat. The weight causes the lens to cut Dan's hand more, and that's the least that he deserves. After failing 3 times to get a hold on the railing, she fucking makes it. She's back on the boat. Amy slams that button, lowering the ladder for Dan, and goes to check on Sarah. Yes, the ladder was automated and only needed a button to be pressed to lower it. Sarah has fallen off of the bed and onto the hard floor, and that is one reason why you should never let an infant sleep in a bed like that. You're still a terrible parent, Amy. She finally gets Sarah to stop crying and fall asleep, which doesn't usually happen that fast. Dan is still at the bottom of the ladder, so I'm wondering just how long he's been floating there, thinking. He decides the best course of action is to not get back on the yacht and simply drown and die. Because it should have been him. Be a man and own up, Dan, whatever your fucking name is. Amy is also wondering what is taking Dan so long and goes to check. She sees the life vest floating by the boat and Dan off in the distance. She grabs one of those life rings and throws it out in hopes that he will come back. He doesn't. So what does Amy decide to do? Amy decides to swim after him. She tried to save her father from drowning when she was a child, but failed and doesn't want the same to happen to Dan. Do Amy and Dan make it back safe to the yacht where baby Sarah is alone and possibly fell off the bed again because of the strong current? Well, we see a fishing boat go by, and the man on board somehow hears her crying over the sound of his boat engine. He goes to investigate this abandoned yacht. Here's where it gets confusing. Sarah is crying, obviously distressed that she's hungry and cold. It appears as though she's the only person on board. But then it cuts to a shot of Dan and Amy on the deck. No Sarah to be heard or fisherman to be seen. Dan is laying face down, either passed out or dead, and Amy's just kind of standing there. So, did they wind up on another boat? Did she bring him back after the fisherman saved Sarah? Did she dump his body into the ocean and also drown herself, and this is the right before? Are they ghosts in Silent Hill, and is this their purgatory now? My friend Mint came up with a theory that Lauren reached help, told the fisherman where her friends were, and he went to go check it out but only found Sarah. Amy and Dan were either somewhere he couldn't see them, or they returned to the yacht afterwards. Or that they all died and the fisherman adopted Sarah. Apparently, other versions of the movie have a disclaimer at the end stating that Amy, Dan, and Sarah did survive, but Dan and Amy never saw each other again. Why the fuck didn't we get that in the US release? And that is Open Water 2. What a train wreck, or I guess shipwreck. It's something you'll be interested in watching, but not for the reasons the filmmakers wanted. It's more of a, holy shit, how are these people so dumb? I mostly just feel bad for what happened to the baby and the mom to an extent. I would say the biggest idiot is Dan, but it's actually Amy. I'm sorry, but she should have let Dan go and just stayed with her baby after she got back on the yacht. Yeah, she doesn't want to lose more people via drowning, but come on. Dan is the most selfish, his worst action being when he didn't get on the ladder and decided to drown himself instead. Why not live and help Amy get back to safety and make sure the baby isn't traumatized for life? Why not make reparations by living and doing everything that he didn't do before? Carry on the memories of those friends that they lost? I don't understand their mindset at the end. I mean, I guess I do, but it's stupid. As I said earlier, most of their attempts to get back on the boat were good ideas, but executed badly. Why would you have one of the heavy guys climb up something that is very delicate? Panicking is one thing, but they had time to think about most of their ideas. I guess I'll never know unless I get trapped off of a yacht in the middle of the ocean with my friends. I know I'd get back up while my son is alone in the cabin. When you go yachting, make sure you have a way back up. Don't be like these people. Is it a good movie? Not really, but it's fun to watch with friends and laugh at how stupid everyone is. There were some parts where I felt for certain characters, but the overall feeling I had for it was irritation. I hated the decisions they made. You really don't know whether to feel bad for them or think that they're idiots. Thank you for watching the video. Leave a like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more content, comment if you've seen this movie and what your thoughts are, or if you're going to watch this movie or whatever, if you want me to do more of these movie review videos. Thank you to my patrons on Patreon, you guys mean so much to me. I'm glad that I have people supporting me. I have merch on Redbubble of my face, so you can go check it out or whatever. Link is in the description. And thank you for watching.